My home 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗀 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 shrine so. Anope yehu ensemo a eye krataa mu yehwie gu ani internet so. Yedi nkomo bebre yaje adwentwere efi eye Dr. Justice 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗀 eni ya ye papa osofo pon asarekusi ho na ye mamote ase se ne osofo asarekusi aba abeka ye ho na ye neni bedi nkomo na nsana ye bedi sa asore nkomo ye kofodua nkomo dedede ye wo asem kese so na asem kese ya twen abanenim kakra ye pese ne ye mankomo didie no emu dore na emuwa said ye be ya wapomudin ebewie peyo. And so today on Asem Kezia we are discussing health. Remember yesterday we looked at a healthy living. Yenya a clinical psychologist and watcher yen said ye apomudin cry tie and the definition that WHO has given to us. We also got a health educator who also brought his perspective on health. This morning we are privileged to have our brother, Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur, who is a medical doctor and a clinical psychologist, and more importantly, he is the acting director of UPSA Clinic. Brother, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
So how is UPSA doing?
UPSA is doing so well.
Okay.
I think that this year there have been several awards for the university.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't talk about the details, but the university is grown. You know, and Professor 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗶 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃.
Okay.
You know, 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃, he's the vice chancellor.
Vice chancellor.
Yes, and he's doing so well.
Okay.
And so I think the university has grown. If you walk, you know, now when people walk in, they are surprised.
Yes, they change.
The change.
Yes.
They have the past IPS kind of setup.
Yes.
You know,
I took my daughter to school last 2 weeks to register, and I was surprised.
Yes,
it was the first time I was entering the place 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's everything has changed. Yeah, and there's a whole medical directorate.
So that's what I'm coming to now. So for those of us who are in the University of Ghana, we know University of Ghana Hospital or Legon Hospital and then UGMC now. What role does their clinic play in the life of the entire UPSA?
So it's just like the normal university health facility.
Okay.
So you go to any university, there's a health facility.
Okay.
Right, so UPSA also has a health facility.
Okay.
And we do virtually like everything health that you can think about. And so the population is quite huge. UPSA is, I think, about 20,000.
That is heavy.
Yes.
That is heavy.
Freshers close to 6,000, 7,000. So
that is heavy.
Yeah, it's a whole population.
Okay. So you do both inpatient and outpatient?
Yes.
And what is the capacity, bed capacity, sleeping capacity?
So currently, you know, we are having all kinds of expansions with the place. Right, and so we do more like a day kind of thing, and detention kind of thing, and not an overnight kind of admission. Okay. But generally we do well because a lot of patients can actually go home. You know, a lot of patients can actually go home.
I understand where you're coming from.
Sometimes I think hospitals detain people unnecessarily.
Okay. I hope you are not talking to private hospital owners. You understand what I mean?
I haven't said anything.
Then I would have been saying you are accusing me of something.
No, I haven't said anything.
All right, I understand. We understand the language. Sometimes, you know, you can, but for purposes of, you know, but it's fine. Last question, what are some of the cases you see amongst, do you see staff as well?
Oh yeah, so we have staff dependents, we have students, we have clients, private clients. So in a year, you may have close to about 12,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Coming through the hospital.
Yes.
That is heavy.
Yeah, that's quite
heavy.
Yes. A day you may get between 100 and 200. You know, a day.
I'm sure in the near future you will move from status of a clinic to a hospital.
Oh, there are plans far advanced.
Okay.
You know, UPSA is doing well, so there are plans to actually.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Once you are the director, we'll see how some locum can work out after this one. All right. So, dear friends, we are on Sorena Shrine. Can who say a year, baby, you do a Yefro Penima 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗃. We are still on our purposeful living series and yet yasem kese na ato ho a enne ye ba beka apomodin ho asem. So today we are talking about leisure and stress management. Let's first start with the stress management. What is stress at all and say about the management?
And generally in stress you know, people have a certain perception about generally either a 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗴 kind of yerba. So things that has to do with an undue demand on the body.
Okay.
And to say if people are going through something that is more demanding and it puts a certain undue pressure on the body, people say that it stresses. But the good news about stress is that stress is a response to a demand. So the demand itself is not stressful,
Okay.
but the response is what determines whether the stressor is stressful or not.
All right. Dr. Newman, I think you have hit on something very important, and this I will stress on it so much in class and let my students understand that the issue is not the stressor. Nemum, your response to what
Perfect.
is. So take your time and explain this. Now the infantino so I mean bubu mame.
Yaka demand bibiara yere ya oye zin kakra.
Okay.
So we have different kind of demands or stresses. You may have internal ones and external ones. Yeka internal wangasa unyipeduano be buafa and how you perceive things and approach things. For example, unforgiveness is a stressor. Dubia e bibi mfanchen. Another bitterness, another jealousy. For example, an 𝗟𝗃𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗃𝗃 cramp say, maybe a wife be why ya kafanu kunfun or shame or in stress. So jealousy, bitterness, anger, all those things are internal. Pessimism, negative thinking. You know, they be in a certain negative way. All those things are internal kind of stresses. And external stresses, no, generally be about traffic, be a responsibility, be assured. Clean up more from preparing for school, sikasem, edumasem, all those things are external stresses. You know, because they have kind of in the environment. Maybe will be here or doko hospital, no injections, all those things are stresses. So all those things are there. But in Newman, your friend is stressor because they have the potential to cause stress. The stress itself is a response to those stresses. Into more thing there, how a one kasa ebe fun, normal as in all stressful or not. And for example, obiti traffic man pay. Look, well, food maybe wait tune radio on share Wesleyan TV. Wait tune radio be in a government in you know discussions. Donara obo de Newman na I the wabre already. But obisubo to matna karma in traffic or music could be on in could be a chat in the car. Or won't feel the stress of the what do you call the traffic as much as obia, you know, one handle them situation here. Until be will be with financial problems, right? How are obo them financial problem will make that problem more stressful.
All right.
Obekada irazi antine wiasa is in them. You know, Ghana kra why is in do. Na infa kra na mafa. Obisu bekado in the 1 year
Very interesting.
So the same financial problem, the approach is different. Maybe a marital problems. The same person you are struggling with. And it is so it's really not the person or the stressor, but how you are responding to the stress. And that is the good news.
All right.
What it means is that stress does not automatically affect us. Our response to that stressor is what actually determines the impact of the stressor. So
we are going to look at the process of the stress, but for now, you are trying to let us understand stress and stress response. Etina doko patre say, obi awo how ye nyina ye si he say si ano o me say wo kam ya bo ho a wo nya kwan dwe hwe ni mikotoku. Now, mebre Doc obre obi abre. Enti obre ni dey constant said the work no stress is always constant. Nemum adwendwene ni nsusu ya wo efa ho ani emuaya wo fa ohia na wudi no ho. Aware na emaye no usika na ayira no exams na aware no eno nema stress na ba, and we need to understand it that way. He's saying that stress does not necessarily bring problems. Name your response to the stress, or better still, your response to the stressor. Obekai so can say the tete will be no na tete will be. Inte kwan ya wo fa so no ama hu muaye. Eno na de ohaw beba. Inte sikasem ya okay. Ohia bato. Ochene be ye and now because all die be die. It will be good tomorrow. Now feel what. Doc, take us through the process of stress.
And whilst we are and all that, the moment you face a stressor, the body also, the moment challenge biba, God has made the body in such a way that the body can now prepare itself to deal with the challenge or to move away from the challenge, right? Because the body cannot coexist with stress. The more I stress, then the impact on the body is getting worse and worse. So God has actually initiated all kinds of internal mechanisms to help us either fight the stressor or to move away from the stressor. And that is where, people will term it the fight or flight kind of response. And all the internal mechanisms that is marshaled, it is basically the nervous system which is involved. Adrena is a yepe utrima, uti yepea, bibi woma your friend brain, in a numu nerves naze. There is also a hormonal kind of system. Only a nervous system together, they actually work hand in hand to be able to prepare the body to be able to deal with the stressor. In turn, the moment you face a stressor, know that this internal mechanism has been activated without your permission.
Okay.
Only asamono. It they bear you are stressed. They bear you are stressed. Know that whilst you are going through that, the body has also marshaled its internal mechanisms to be able to help, deal with it. Because the body has to be in a state of equilibrium. Or in a certain state. All the internal organs as in all pepe. Because little changes in the body was yereba. Okay. Into the moment that internal mechanism is activated, there are all kinds of chemicals our body release.
Okay, we share the relationship between stress and health. But me pese obeje mre na wa cheche ye wo fight and flight ya we can say e bia asam na to. Metimi aye hu bibi. Mintimi nya hu bibi. Ho na mpese ofefi. At what point in time will you fly? And at what point in time will you fight? And what are the consequences? Okay,
Inti, you go through, the moment you face a stressor, it goes through certain phases.
Okay.
The first phase is what we call the phase of alarm. A phase of alarm, the body actually becomes surprised, becomes alerted. Oh, asemesi. Then what we do is that we all marshal our coping strategies to resist or to deal with the stressor. Okay. In TM coping strategies, there are various kind of coping strategies you adopt. Obi better, obi be listen to music, obi obi team another anger outburst or what. There are a lot of things that people do. Some may even use other unhealthy coping strategies like alcohol and those things. So we all try to marshal a certain coping strategies. Into them coping strategies, so when you're effective, another stress is maintained for a longer period of time. A time will come that you can no longer fight. Okay. And that is when you go into a phase of exhaustion or burnout. And the body is actually tired. Okay. All the internal mechanisms are all over the place. Then now all the health issues and stuff starts coming up. So the moment you face a stressor, we try to actually cope. Into our financial situations here, we try to think about what to do. We all try to, try to cope. sometimes coping strategies are not effective. But if the stressor is maintained for a longer period of time, before you realize all your coping strategies are starts to fail, you know, then you go into a phase where you just cannot take it again.
Okay. Wow,
yes.
Amazing. Now let's come to the health. The literature is now saying, response to stress is the doorway to all medical condition or health condition. Yes. Why do they say so?
Yeah.
Stress is not just over yariana.
Yes, into them internal mechanisms, no. The body actually, the nervous system, hormonal systems, no. There are chemicals that are released when someone is stressed. Okay. You know, so there are things we call neurochemicals or neurotransmitters and stuff. For example, adrenaline is released. Norepinephrine is released.
Okay. At what point is adrenaline released? Is it when you are fighting? The
moment you face a stressor, those things are
naturally released.
But your response, you know, will make it worse or not.
Okay.
For example, I face a financial situation. I start thinking about it in a very, very good way. Before I realize all those chemicals, though they are released a bit, they start coming down. Okay. Because your response now is becoming okay. But imagine you are very negative, you know, worried, anxious. Just the surge goes up. Okay. Into those neurochemicals, you know, for example, adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol, very, very important. Release those chemicals, they influence body systems. They will influence your heart rate, they will influence your respiration, they will influence your digestion, they will influence your sleep, even your vision will be influenced by that. All the heart and heart functioning, glucose control will be influenced. Your immunity is influenced, and all these changes, bone, you know, issues, even fertility. Into most of the time, you know, those who are always stressed, they may have fertility problem. The menses are erratic, so there are a lot of students during exam time, you know, because of the pressure of exams, their menses are all over the place, right? So all those chemicals are released. And if you look at even pregnancy, some women when they are pregnant, you know, because the pregnancy itself is a stressor, you know, so all the cortisol and those things released. But there's some women who are not a diabetic, when they become a diabetic. Those who are not hypertensive, they become hypertensive and stuff like that. Because all these chemicals are released in the body. In Tibondo, be all your stress, you know. Bonda ni tea and yo. Bonda ni breathing on shedani palpitations naze digestible or run the pinion another kakrapen na swanchi cramposen body aches and pain naze. Generally realize that you feel weak. You Echo hospital, labs ni nyina when the doctors labs ni but in what I say here. You know, then before you realize you are dizzy, aches and pain here and there, you can't even pinpoint whatever. And all those changes, if it continues, then the disease processes begin. Okay. Hypertension will come, diabetes will come, bone problems will come, fertility issues will be there, cancers would come, ulcer-related problems will come. You know, immunity will go down. Into one they are always stressed. You know, before you realize they can walk hospital with some digestive problems or friend there, you know, a catarrh, cough, cold, nausea, kakrebi and oil. Because all these changes in the body is affecting, influencing disease process. So there are some people about hospital or hypertension, diabetes. If you hypertension, diabetes, what happened? Okay. And I do 30s, 40s, bonus some year baby you know, and they don't understand why. Okay. Because stress is a major killer.
Major. We'll come to the stress being a major killer, but let's reverse a little bit. So that because of the immune system, people who hitherto were hypertensive, diabetic, didn't see they were. But stress never what is the place of the immune system and stress response?
Well, the immune system no obohen to fight. Okay. To fight diseases and all kinds of things, because we interact with the environment. So Afraba immune system is actually boosted from childhood. You know, Afraba now, even passing through the the vaginal canal, right? Exposure to all the, bugs there starts the immune development. Or, already or touch as, immune development, because we need the immune system to be able to fight all kinds of things that actually come into the body. And so stress actually, because of the release of these chemicals, especially cortisol, lowers the immunity, right? And so what it means is that your body now does not have the capacity to fight infections, to fight diseases and stuff like that. And that becomes very critical. So those who have, who are always stressed, they will realize that almost all the time, they are coming up with some infection of a sort, skin problems and all kinds of things.
So I want you to take your time to mention some of the conditions or the diseases that stress can open up. In fact, we have said that stress is a doorway to all medical, psychological conditions. But what are some of the major ones, especially in your practice, that stress can open up to?
So I think I mentioned some earlier. One, hypertension, diabetes, bone problems like osteoporosis and stuff like that. What do you call it? Infertility. There are some women who even can't even trace their friend and their menstrual cycle because of that. What do you call it? Cancers. Infections like upper respiratory infections, gastrointestinal infections, and stuff like that. What libido will go down. When it comes to mental health, anxiety, depression will go up. Suicidal behaviors would actually go up, even with stress. These are some of the things that come to mind.
So, I mean, very well, I want us to single out the decrease in libido due to stress because of the influx of sexual potency medications and, for now, alcohol. And then later we'll come to the fertility. Could it be possible that because I am stressed, I am not able to perform in bed? And do I need a libido enhancer?
What it means is that when you're tired, you lose energy for everything, including sex. You lose interest in many things. When you are stressed, you don't even feel like eating. Learning becomes even difficult. Concentrating on important activities is difficult. Even social activities, you don't want to go. Right, and so that drive goes down with stress. Your libido will just crash.
So some wives are complaining that their husbands are not able to perform, and it is based on a suspicion, like you said, gone through your phone, seeing that you are talking to a certain woman whose name is called My Love, which is a suspicion that you are doing something, but you come home so tired and you are not able to perform. As a doctor, what do you say to this?
The secret is that sex will deal with the stress. So
we'll remove the stress. We'll reduce.
part of stress management is intimacy. Because during sex, there are certain chemicals also that are released. There are many, but let me mention for dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and also serotonin. Dopamine, serotonin, and stuff will boost, energy, and all that. The wellness, the pleasure you feel, and all those things. A burst of
viewers, sorry, we are bombarding with neurochemicals. That is the doctor talking to, or can what they find? Sounds like Dr. Ford or Mukanoma confusion, but these are just simply neurochemicals that are released either to stress or your response.
During sex, those chemicals are released. Oxytocin, the feeling of happiness, fondness,
the ecstasy,
fondness, and a bonding. You feel, it is because of oxytocin. Then again, to endorphins will help with immunity. So stress will decrease immunity. Sex itself will release these endorphins, which will boost immunity and also help with pain and stuff like that. So that is why when people have intimacy, they sleep better, right? They feel very fresh.
We will come to the management of it, but I'm looking at the case where somebody is complaining, he's not performing, he's not even erecting because to him feels stressed. But woman thinks that you've passed somewhere.
So what it means that determination should be done by a medical professional. What it means that because there are all kinds of causes of
that is
erectile problems. So it's always good to investigate beyond the stress. And again, to some men they may know that they can't perform for some reason. but because of the state of the marriage, they may use that as an excuse, stress as an excuse. But it's a health problem, like any other health problem. You have to just go to hospital for the doctor to find, because there are all kinds of things like hypertension, diabetes, some medications here and there that can even affect, you know, your libido or affect your performance. So people should actually
yes. So at this moment we are saying that it is only a trained medical person who can determine the cause, the veracity and the parameter of a medical condition. Do you mean okay, me perform because I am stressed, and that becomes an excuse, hiding behind an excuse. So that is fine. What about fertility? Can we say somebody is not able to get pregnant because the person is stressed?
Oh yes, so all these changes would affect all these hormones responsible for a woman's cycle and fertility and all that. You know, so that, like I said, sometimes when women are stressed, they realize that there's a change in their menstrual cycle. In turn, going to track ovulation day right? And again, to all the mood changes and stuff around menses and premenstrual problems and all that, you know, sometimes stress can do. Some may even bleed more, even bleed
because
little.
Of the process.
Because of
into being or worry 3 years, 5 years, even into 10 years. Now, and yes, said you who couldn't and I say be a obani kusia and your papa ye name stress here dog cooking. It could also be say anytime there is intimacy, you are stressed, or there is a certain level of fight, a certain level of anger. That is always
And again, to those who are stressed, avoid who are having marital problems, avoid sexuality. And not every sexual encounter results in pregnancy, because the window period is just very, very small.
Very small,
you know, between it's just about 5 days or so, from the 9th to the 14th to about 15th, you know, around that day, you know.
Depending on the start date,
especially the mid, you know, point of your cycle is where ovulation takes place. So if a couples miss that time, it doesn't matter how good the sex, you will still not become pregnant. So when couples are stressed, it affects the quality of their relationship. It reduces the frequency of sex in the marriage, right? And the hormonal changes also has that influence on fertility. Yes.
Very, very, very important. Inti ashefo say nyinsem beba say nyinsem ma nyani nyina na yese abaifo bi ye bibi ebetimi aba say wo stressa and doc ka kire say wo fom no enu kra betimi ama wo ho akiro enche bia will be coming to what the management of the stress are and what we can do. Doc asha se kra sex ho asem nti we die awafo ne ye aguma ma ye beba ba ne ye ka ye ho say enne eye 𝗟𝗏𝗃 Shrine Purposeful Living Series, no? Yes, and they share leisure and stress management. Na doko kase. Yes, stress ye king. And yes, and ye cry a one papa. And a war ne bonnet, so name a quanya wo be faso no ama whom waye. Aye, a dear friend of stress response, no? And no nebe moon who's a beco yamo. And I say enko ye. Yene Dr. Isaac Newman Atta, the acting director of UPSA clinic enawaha. Or you'll be a wakadari a year adwudimu enhwehwemu a year friend or psychologist ana or sanso ye doctor papa. Doc, we are still on. Let's manage stress.
Okay, so the first point is to recognize what your stresses are.
Okay. What do you mean recognize?
And what know what you have to ask, what is stressing me?
Okay.
You know, and we all have different things that stresses us. So even in the same, for example, in the same home, the couples or even the children are stressed differently.
Okay.
So the husband may have his own stresses. The
Which
woman,
are? Which could be? Money, of course.
Well, money and no peace.
Okay.
Every man is looking for a hiding place.
Also, that's right.
There is enough noise out there. We don't want another drama. So usually, we all respond to things differently. Okay. So you may go into a home and realize that someone is bothered by something. Another person is just not moved. You know, and so our stresses are different. So you need to define clearly what the stresses are. To why I say, me feel them okay. Right. Then again, you need to be able to rank the stresses, right? To find out which one is necessary and the ones which are not. There are some stresses you cannot do away with. The others you can easily do away with. So, for example, awuba. Oban Usa, or they grind and a Pioco school. You cannot do away with it. But there, it will be the school fees and ne papa or the village beer, you know, or as someone could one fan. You see, those ones you need to find out whether do I have to really do what I'm doing. And beer, it was showroom. Stress, churches and stuff can even be a lot of stress. So, for example, a showroom, you have different positions in the church. You need to be able to define what role is very necessary there. Is the mania obiara into me? Even that one is even it's even a fallacy there. It will see everything is normal, right? So you need to clearly define the stresses and rank them as to what is avoidable and the ones which is not. Then you need to clear those which are preventable. Until one gets out there make a list, no, the mass is on mutochi krana, you know, it can actually reduce. And the Bible is clear about stress. You see, come unto me that are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon me and learn of me. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. It means that anytime you know you are stressed, it means that sometimes you are even doing beyond what God wants you to do. The actual be beyond. It's good, but you need to clearly find out whether what you're doing is really necessary or not. Because most of the time, they invite unnecessary stresses. So that also is very important when you are trying to deal with stress. Then again, you need to develop effective coping strategies and avoid what we call dysfunctional coping strategies, like the use of alcohol and all those things to cope, right? So some of the effective coping strategies, maybe I'll mention them quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
The first one is to have a positive attitude towards life.
Okay.
It starts from the mindset.
Okay. Wow.
In the onye echinobe. Instead of why? No. Just say obey. True exams, you know, exams, me fail, I'll move on. Instead of saying that, challenge me failure, what happened to me? What my father said. No, you need to have a positive attitude towards life. And it's in the Bible. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, whatever is true, whatever is lovely, whatever is obvious, says dwell on these things. So a positive attitude and mindset actually is one of the major things. You know, so your children, you know, once at this point, they be anyone casa wanti. Worrying about it won't change them anyway. But why not tell yourself there, in there, say, your friend there, no, the moment you start developing that positive attitude and mindset, you realize that in Yamano, on sheda do to them are often. Then the next one too is surround yourself with positive people.
Wow.
Positive relationships.
So number one, trotro, and I know say you are making some notes. I say have a positive mental attitude. Into what you know, mu say ye achiakura emuye and go to Philippians. Now you are talking about surrounding yourself with
positive friends. Into obiara wa brabuma. Or add on to your problem. Distance yourself. Like distance yourself.
Let them go.
Yeah, so we realize that even Jesus had, you know, the crowd follow him. But he chose the 11. Out of the 11, he went further with the 3. And out of the 3, went further with John. Until we would have to determine those who are important. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 11. The 9 says, it says 2 are better than 1. If one falls, the other will lift the other person up. Instead of lifting you up, they will push you down. Just distance yourself. And you have a choice to let them go or not. And most of the time, we know the people who are a stressor. And people keep coming because the moment they call, you respond. Now, what I do is that when I realize you're a stressor, I free
or you block the person.
Oh no, I've actually blocked some people. Block.
Okay,
physically. No, I'm block or my dream. No, them, especially 2024. No, we no go Greek
at all, because you can't add more.
No, you can't add. So you need to surround yourself with positive people. A friend can change your mood. sometimes there are some people start to scroll in their shepo. Because there are some status that are stressful.
Doc, talking about status and phone, how can a phone be a stressor and how can we avoid the stresses that comes with phones before you continue?
Well, into phones, what it means is that whatever you do with the phone should be more productive. Anything that is unproductive on phones is actually adds on to your problems. So don't respond to those calls, that is a stressor. Don't respond to those messages, that is a stressor. Don't go to sites that make life look unbearable. Don't listen to music. When people are sad, they listen to sad music. Instead of listening to music that will lift them up. I don't want to sing any of those songs.
To hymns. And yet,
I there
are some songs that are not defined.
You just have to throw them away.
Yeah. No, right. To talk about phones, there was this patient somewhere came to me and was talking about the fact that she was struggling with masturbation. And this is a person who had not had sex before. So I asked, what triggers the whole feeling of the master? No, so your phone so. And I'm saying phone so how be a frail and also or app be a one phone so or this shape no. And I'm saying okay, then delete it from so I can't delete it. And I'm saying you are not serious. Can you pass me charge or no far through the open connect cycle because you are telling me that you can't delete a common. I want you to spend some time on the phone issue. A lot of people are under stress based on their phones. The calls they are getting, the apps they have installed themselves. Please speak a little on the phone.
Yes, I think the phone is both a blessing and a distraction, right? And for me, for example, anytime you could feel my brain, more cartoons. Don't ride the monkey, you'll be shocked.
Wow.
Or playing games. There are some things that when you do, we say in psychology, we say mindless activities. As or engage you, thinking, which eases the pressure on you. So things like watching a good movie that is not so stressed. There are some movies now, when you're watching, you are sitting on edge. There's some of the series and stuff, soap operas that are really stressed because you have to follow it.
Follow with your emotions.
Otherwise, but they will unite the one upon some some that will be shape crisis. Meanwhile, their cameramen say, cut, start again. Right? So phones can be a blessing or a distraction. Right? But you talked about the pornography issue. Actually, a lot of the things that people are addicted to, addiction is a disease actually. Right? It changes the brain and how the brain actually perceives things. And so most of them also use those addictive behaviors to cope with major life problems. Right? And so whenever people realize that they are addicted to things, they would rather have to seek help. I think the person did well by coming to see you for help. Because behind that may be major problems that they are using those addictive to actually cope with life.
But let's go on the street now. So we took our cameras to the streets to listen to what people think their stresses are and how they can manage them. In the young na yongo tie na yenhwe de adofo so eka.
Okay, beach. Even though first any driver Jimmy, first any choni ekeshe to mo etomi wa in your cafe keto. Iya independent square. Iya cash ni relax your body because no ojoy. Nike oye weshan obanye ni se bitafo ache oje efe no cash the tax no ojoy because ke ojoy shoba mo ila dane okesika ya hospital can be it was jomole eyani bi pi insona ho ajoy efe ya ajoy it was waso le anu makesi nuchu mo le wo baya she one day no obanye no ojoy le wo joy
wakasampa eno ni the pontat se ne be ya sa Branny, sikeni ho ni ya pendown aye den enukre ha drink akra kanka ye man sese no ye brepa me ne me nkanda no bread ye brepa me say me hu me if you say sikeni o man Monday to Monday me ye djuma this is Sunday pe and I am to me jima hu me but enye easy
All right. Yeah. Yeni anje ewo studio ha. Isane say kwanya nipa bebre efa so e release tension no. Enkeni because solo mofia mo. Yes, I'm about alcohol. Now, you on the point.
Yeah, so there are all kinds of I think let me continue mentioning
please
them.
continue.
Yes, so the next one too is rest.
Okay.
Rest means that make sure you're sleeping. Right? If you're struggling to sleep, just go to hospital. We would actually investigate and help you sleep.
Yeah.
So there are two forms of rest. We have sleep and relaxation. And so sleep is when you close your eyes at night and you are not too conscious for like 5 to 8 hours. And every adult need no less than 5 hours of sleep. A day to be able to do well, you know, in terms of health and stuff. Kids need up to about 12 hours. Babies need about 16 hours out of the 24.
No wonder they are called babies.
Yeah, what else would they do?
No wonder.
So people need to sleep. Then another form of rest is relaxation. Okay. That is when a get a baby. Okay.
So baby. There is rest and there is sleep.
Relaxation.
Can you be sleeping and not resting?
Yes, you can be sleeping and not resting, depending on the quality of the sleep. Okay. Right. Then there's also relaxation, like I talked about, when you actually go somewhere, you are leisure. Maybe you are sitting by the pool. Yeah. Nice stroke, one and cry in the pool. Okay. I just. It's a paper. Also called Independence Square. Well, you know that. I lemon juice. That's right. You need that form of life, and Jesus did that all the time. He would drive away the crowd and go to the to the mountains.
Yeah, sure. but some Bible commentators will say he went to pray, not to relax. Could prayer be a form of relaxation?
So that one is also on another, but I'm sure there are a lot of things that I'm sure Jesus did up the mountain. And it was rest. And he actually invited the disciples most of the time to come and rest. You know, and he would drive away the crowd. You know, that was responsibility. And he went to a quiet place to have time for himself. I'm sure whilst he was climbing the mountain, baby, you know, you know, so relaxation really helps. A lot of people really don't do that, and the money God gives you is for relaxation.
I think you brought the issue to leisure now. Yes. Leisure. Take time and talk about leisure. I think we all don't rest. All our monies, how big, small, we are spending it on others and all other things apart from us who need a rest to be able to make them. Please take your time and talk about leisure.
So leisure is in many ways. Things that make people relax, makes them cool down, makes them calm down, makes them feel better.
Like alcohol?
You know, so alcohol is destructive. Okay. You know, alcohol is as for alcohol, I discourage it in its entirety. Okay. Now we even know that the impact of red wine on the heart is negative.
Very negative.
That is even the current
Doc,
research.
let's take our time to do this. There is this perception, which I have even heard among many Christians. So, Dr. Foster, red wine there, the literature has changed, and I need you to speak about it so our viewers will know that it's a deception. I, being the host today, will not talk. But Doc, yes, talk about it.
Yeah, in alcohol, there's a component of alcohol we call ethanol. All the distillation and whatever fermentation, we have ethanol. Into any alcoholic beverage, right? Any has ethanol. So the percentage you see in the alcohol is the percentage of the ethanol that is in that drink. Inside the bottle. For example, if it's 1%, it means the ethanol component is 1%. If it's 4%, most of the beers and stuff, some may start from 2%, 4%. The spirits and stuff may about 15, 16%. A lot of the 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗄𝗏 and the spirits and those things that we sachet now, boys, some, I think I did a certain research, some as high as 72%. So the higher the ethanol component, the more the problem. The moment you drink alcohol, it goes into the body. The intestines tries to break some of them down. And a lot of the majority of them is absorbed.
Including the red wine?
Including the red wine, it's absorbed. Then it goes to the liver, and the liver has to break it down because the body cannot coexist with alcohol. So when it gets to the liver and some part of the brain, the intestines and all those things, actually tries to break it down. And it breaks it down. The first breakdown component of the alcohol is what we call acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is a toxic substance to the body. It causes almost every disease you can think about. The cancers, the hypertension, diabetes. So in medical school, you could exam, no will be out there. What is the cause of this disease? Alcohol, smoking, stress, obesity. You are right. Because alcohol is directly or indirectly responsible for more than 200 different types of diseases. So acetaldehyde is very, very toxic to the body. And the body actually tries to eliminate it very, very quickly. Right? So the higher the alcohol, the ethanol component, the more acetaldehyde is produced, the more difficult it is for the body to break it down, and the more the damage. So it is even a carcinogen, a cancer-causing substance. And the body tries to break it down into acetate. You know, acetate is actually safer. Then again, acetate is broken down to carbon dioxide and water, and it's eliminated from the body. And part of the alcohol too is eliminated through sweat and the breath. That is why obi no musabune a breath, you know, or smell alcohol and not even the skin, right? And all these things causes all kinds of diseases, skin changes, heart problems, you know, brain issues, eye problems, immunity is destroyed, you know, fertility, and most of the time people may think alcohol can offend and improve performance. It increases the feeling for pleasure, but it does not help with potency. And finally, alcohol.
Because there's also another deception on the market we need to break now. But of Fabram Fanti,
perform in bed. In Sano, Obama, you would have the pleasure for sex, but does not actually help with potency. And alcohol will finally actually cause impotence. Alcohol abuse is one of the causes of impotence. And especially what it means is that when you are pregnant and you continue even to drink, it's going to affect the child. You know, the child, you know, the kidney will get destroyed and stuff like that. You know, and the liver of the child actually will get destroyed because everything you are drinking actually goes to the child. And the child, it's like the child is boozing even whilst the child is in there. And it actually destroys. So alcohol in itself, it actually destroys. But if we eat normal food here and there, the carbohydrate in there, when it gets into the body actually converts it actually to acetate, which is safe for the body. So whichever alcohol that you think the body needs, the body has its own internal mechanisms to produce what is safe to the body. Already. So you don't need an external source of alcohol. And the red wine itself, right, has the good component, which is probably the grape and those components. Then the ethanol component. So
all
it is
in the bottle.
All in one bottle. So it is the ethanol component in the red wine that causes the damage. So whilst it's just like someone adding DDT to water and saying that the combination is because of the water, let me drink it. Finally, it's the DDT that will kill the person. And we even have alcohol heart disease and stuff like that. Alcohol destroys from the head to the toe.
Very interesting.
Alcohol destroys every
Let's
part
open the phone lines for our viewers to call in 025-625-3461. 025-625-3461. 025-625-3461. Ofra, Dr. Waha, can stress any management na fi nija yebetimi enya kakra wa brabo mu aye ye your friend leisure. The leisure no ho ana ye di hu nkomo ya ye kase bi se on person mu ju omani a omunya botro miensan bi a na se onom nsa na emum wine de doctor say wakoma ana ne ye kase eye ntro o se eye red wine na o se wo nom no botro no mu no ye wo grape wo mu ye wo eye anonie bi ewu wo mu na emum ye san so so ethanol wo mu nti percentage bi a ya tworo se e wo bottle no eno ene wo mu a onom na ekọ eye honam ni mu a ewura honam no atimi edi bone. Wise, you are calling from Aflawo. Wise, Leke. Oh, me on me phone.
Okay.
Yo.
Does stress give headache, intense headache?
Okay. All right, is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay, you. So doctor will take care of it. You can listen to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so headaches. Yeah, headaches. All these changes in the body will cause headaches. So a lot of people have consistent, even migraine and stuff like that. Stress is one of them.
Okay.
So when people come with migraines and stuff, one of the questions we ask is about things concerning stress, just to help them. Yeah. And just to add about this alcohol, maybe that's the final thing I'll say, is that now one of the dangers is that people are mixing herbs with alcohol. And it's a deception of the alcoholic company. Because you see, obi ornum, obagi no yedru no ornum.
Okay.
Oh, a herb, no, is alcohol. The herb itself goes to the liver.
A research to be done.
The herb itself goes to the liver. The alcohol goes to the liver.
Okay.
And you are actually destroying yourself.
Okay. Surprisingly, I have seen some herbs from very renowned, we'll say herbalists or herbal shops, who are saying that they had authentication from, I don't want to mention names, but in order to brew whatever from the herbs, you need to add alcohol in order to brew it out. Is that what you are saying?
Yeah, well,
it's a deception.
Yeah, so they're actually destroying. People are taking in those things. You know, and if you are young, you may think that, oh, you can go ahead. No problem, go ahead. But the health problems will come. Health problem. You know, the life expectancy for Ghana is, for men is around 63 to 64.
Yeah.
Women is about 64 to 65. Majority of Ghanaians don't cross 65. If you look at the Ghana population, only 4% of the population are above 65. Right? And most of them is bad lifestyle. And alcohol use issues were more in men. But now the women are catching up.
I tell you.
We have a lot more women who are drinking.
I tell you.
So they are drinking, they are dying, they are dancing, and they are dying. The 3 Ds.
Drinking,
dancing, and dying.
So in the past, and we're even discussing it here, I mean, if you are very familiar with the mortuary, realize that male dead bodies are always more than. But the trend is changing now.
Yeah.
It is meeting up.
Yeah, women are drinking more, and even the shisha thing that they do, no, you are e-cigarette. All of them are not safe. Most of the good things you hear about those products, it's all marketing, because the alcohol company and those things, you know, the money that they rake in. You know, and it's just destroying. And obviously, countries can't ban alcohol and those things because of the revenue that comes. But ideally, alcohol shouldn't even be permitted and stuff. You know, and someone will say, what if Jesus turned water into wine and stuff? Who said it was alcoholic wine?
Another deception.
Who said it was alcoholic wine?
But even with that, with those who make references to Timothy, will a good doctor give a general prescription to everybody?
You know, there is no. I think that the interpretation of that context with Timothy was that in those days, purification of water and those things, they were using alcohol. You know, alcohol, that's what we use as hand sanitizers and stuff. And Timothy didn't want to even contaminate himself by even using alcohol for purification of things. So because the diseases Paul was talking about were GI kind of problems. And the only thing that makes sense with GI problems with alcohol is the purification with water. So that wasn't in reference to the fact that who were also an ABBNT, because alcohol actually destroys the stomach.
But apart from that, you are not called Timothy. And it was a prescription to a particular person based on his condition. Just as a doctor will not use a diagnosis of A for a prescription for a B.
And the truth is that any doctor who will tell a patient to go drink, it means that doctor also drinks.
Obviously.
He doesn't want to feel bad about it.
You know, people have also said this as an accusation. You know, a doctor said, no. Well, it is based on a certain diagnosis and a prescription of the some even still think that it may not wholly be true.
Yeah, and really, we are not even taught in medical school to even prescribe those things
at all.
Yeah, and again, to now, if you say moderation, what do you mean by moderation?
What is the measurement of
glass?
So we have 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗴 from Mamprobi. Abe, let's hear you.
Also, good morning.
Morning.
Greetings to Doc too in the studio.
Good morning.
My question is, when you realize that probably you don't have money, so you are not able to perform in bed, the money too is not coming, and what other thing can you do to mitigate that one? So if there any, maybe you don't have money, all right, you are not able to perform. Your wife is chasing you to perform. Do you use any other distressor to gain your libido to be able to perform? That's my question.
Oh, well, I think that we should, first of all, if the couples are having issues, they should be quick to go to see the health professionals or the psychologist or the counselor together, so that we can actually
deal with the issue.
Yes, libido and all those performance issues. It goes beyond performance. There may be other things. So that is what I would advise, that the two of them would have to go see the professional and talk about it, so that we can go to the root cause of the problems. It's a big area in marriage. Big area. And because people don't seek help, that is why the problems are there.
Big area.
So if I were to continue the stress, those things, then the next one is exercise. So in the morning, exercise. Exercise does everything good in the body, right? So exercise is there. Then again, nutrition. Good nutrition, a lot of fruits, veggies. You need all these nutrients in fruits and vegetables to be able to help the brain actually function well. Another good thing about nutrition is that try and eat what you feel like eating that day. Okay. Instead of eating what you don't feel like eating. You see, when you buy what you don't feel like eating, it's even stressful eating it. But it adds to wellness. And jollof be an octopus sauce be, it adds to wellness. Try hard.
I have a caller from Medina. Caroline, you are calling from Medina.
Yes, please.
Carol, I'm listening. Doc is also here.
Okay, so I'm surprised I'm hearing about the alcohol working on the heart. This is the first time I'm hearing that. But then what I hear often is the wine is it aids in digestion. So I'm calling to find out if that is true.
All right, so talk
so you see, every wine, regardless of what it is, has a good component, has the ethanol component. Yeah. The good component will give you some benefit, but the ethanol component is what will create the problem finally. Yeah. So why not go for a wine that is non-alcoholic, so that you can get the good component?
All right. All right.
And
very important.
And this, another thing is the moment you start drinking alcohol, you will feel like going back, because alcohol changes the communication pathways of the brain.
It alters.
So that is why you feel the urge to go back. The euphoria and the delayed consequence and stuff. People use alcohol for all kinds of things, right? Because of the impact of the alcohol on the brain. And when you start drinking, a time will come, there will be something we call tolerance, where you need higher doses to have the same effect. Then a time will come that you start having withdrawal symptoms, when you become dependent. That's like that even the body's ability to perform is dependent on alcohol. Such that now if you don't even take alcohol, you start having symptoms. When you get to that point, it means you really are getting towards the end of things.
Ekwi awo frey efi Cape Coast.
Pacha.
Yo yama wachi, yama wakwaba.
Yo nyame shira mo na adwuma pa moye. Pacha na mi bisa doc say, no kan addiction. Na mi obi a me regari pa, lutumi a regari beye half cup a common de me na me di raw gari.
Osagu anu.
Na me regari raw.
Ana pacha osagu anu mo re ana wo de ye.
Osagu me no metina wa me sa the whole day.
Okay. Okay.
Me come in French young so. Okay. No na me busa say me so my was side effect bi akosa ka me wo pa. Me
all right, Doc. So this is for you.
Yeah, well, so when someone cannot stop what they're doing and it's affecting them, we say they have an addiction.
Obviously.
And it's going to affect them.
And that's why you
because this Gary Olunkan, and I'm thinking about finally maybe some diabetes or something may come up. Yes. Yeah, because of the carbohydrate rich, insulin is always up and that kind of. I'm sure it's not good. And if she's struggling, we need to be able to find a substitute on balance with time. But Gary,
obviously.
And I'm sure probably growing up, she's been used to that. Yeah. Maybe some something came up, you know, while she was younger, and was starting to do zigari, and it's become.
But wait, it's in chain on that.
And also, sorry.
All right, my friend from Yendi, please. Sister Mary.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, my senior brother has been smoking, and I've been advising him to stop, and he doesn't want to stop. So what should I do? Is it good for the body for that? Because anytime I ask him to stop smoking, he will be telling me that it is good.
All right, so Doc will answer, but I think he's a big liar. But Doc will answer that question.
Yeah, so smoking, any kind of smoking will destroy you. And again, although those who are smoking things or addicted to things, some of them are what we call the pre-contemplation stage, where they are not fully aware of their actions and the impact of their actions on their health.
Yes.
Until won't do her yet, they've not come to that awareness. And Bible describes it in a way. Either the prodigals and who left home. The Bible says after everything was finished, he came to his senses. So there are people who are drinking alcohol. There is some awareness that has not hit them yet. And usually when you meet people like that, instead of accusing them and blaming them and stuff, you need to bring them to a point of awareness. I know someone who you born last year. Drinking, he said it affected him and all they who You know, when he saw me, I had to bring him to that point of understanding.
It is
now
dangerous.
He decided they're about rehab. There are a lot of people in rehab, they were forced there. And when I force one, but usually it's not effective. But this guy...
But we have Veronica on the phone. Vero?
Hello.
You are calling from Somanya. Hello. Yo.
How be na ubu kakra na u how no wayira no enti aduane bi wo ho a u how a udi a ebema wabu kakra na u how no aba foma
aduane a udi a na wabo menti o question na see
mama
what you say okay all right doc ati ase enti no
so obi echo problems one. They want to forget.
Okay.
And usually it's like that brief moment.
You forget.
It's like you are relaxed, you forget.
Yes.
And people go back to it. And yet, because for example, so you still come back to our
so why do you
No, so she's saying that it's just a food
instead of
the alcohol. And maybe fruits and veggies will make you feel better.
Yeah.
Fruit and vegetables will make you feel better.
But something to knock you off, I'm sure, is what
so they should go seek help.
Solve the situation.
See, we have a problem. Some people come and say, so why didn't I come a long time and I'm struggling? Most of the problems people have, they make it a personal issue.
We have 𝗂𝗵𝗃 from Cape Coast. 𝗂𝗵𝗃, who can say Cape Coast?
Yeah, my question is there any wine without alcohol? Because it is the alcohol in the wine. That's why it is called wine.
Okay. Okay, so it's not wholly true, but Doc will answer you. It's not because there is alcohol in the wine, that's why it's called wine. But is that your question? Is that all?
Yeah, because
all right.
You were saying
all right.
An alcoholic
very
wine.
Much well. Doc will answer that question. Doc will answer that question. Doc.
Well, people throw in all kinds of words around these things.
Nomenclature.
But now, well, we know we have non-alcoholic wine and we have alcoholic wine.
I think the name wine, people think itself, wine comes with alcohol, but it's not true.
Yes, it's not. Wine is a generic term for, things, what do you call it? Things, a product of, some grape or something. And now we have different forms of, those days there are all kinds of plants that they use for these things. Now we even have artificial things that people can use to produce wine. And it may not even be plant-based.
Yeah.
But the point we are making is not in the terms. But the point is that we are saying that when you are buying any wine, there is alcoholic wine and non-alcoholic wine. The alcohol component will destroy you. And it's okay. When people come, they actually have reasons I want to do it. You go ahead and drink.
Justified, yeah.
But the problems will come. It will ultimately, the diseases will come.
I have another caller. Ekwia.
Yes.
Who can say Kumasi?
I'm Pacho.
Yo, yet you.
Pacho. This a doctor, ma'am. Me wa ba. I went 30 years. Wait, man, time yeah, and my my stress up, and I say, time yeah, worried. Oh, you'll be on pay food, on pay vegetables. Interpret quite my back. No, I drink. No, pan or no, what it is. Now, my person, doctor, said, yeah, if you obey me, I'm not baby or one. Now, say, me, Abba for help. Now,
okay. Yo, yeah, think because one na Dr. Maumwaye.
Yeah, well, I think that young man has issues. It's just not okay.
Okay.
And sometimes we may even have to look at the childhood development and stuff, what has happened. And I'm sure 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗏 a lot has happened to this child, right? And people adopt certain behaviors over time, and they become used to it. But in terms of help, she can actually locate any hospital in Kumasi that
in fact, there is PIP Test Institute, a recent psychiatric psychology hospital that has been open on the Kochi Road. Enti ubetimi afre eye yem produce a number now offer some afre obema or PIP test for number. They can assist you.
Yes, so there are all kinds of good facilities in Cape.
Frederick.
Yes.
Yeah, hello.
Frederick, you are calling from Western North. Which town specifically?
From Asarinso.
Asarinso. Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
Yetio.
Yeah, Sempachu, now me question me, say me in particular, say me stressed up. I like taking like a communion wine with ice cubes. That makes in one corner. Maybe I may say penny kakra. Nanan person who said no sooner is it good and healthy.
Okay. You Dr. Bebu now one corner now share. Or say or yes stress that offer communion wine, not the ice cubes a goom. No, I share one corner.
Well, if it's a non-alcoholic kind of, most of the communion wines are non-alcoholic, maybe grape or something. Okay. Well, it's okay to have maybe, but personally, I prefer to do the natural things than the artificial things. Okay. Instead of buying a paper drink, orange juice, why not buy orange and squeeze and drink? Okay. Those things are healthier. And instead of buying an apple juice, why not just buy apple and blend? Okay. Instead of buying banana juice, why not buy banana and blend? Those things are healthier. Because most of these products, they have all kinds of things in there, which is not healthy. And we are also saying that you see, some of the drinks which doesn't even have alcohol, it's even more dangerous because of the sugar component and some of the preservatives and stuff. So we should be more natural. You know, those days, our parents were living longer and stuff because everything was natural. Yeah. You see, so the more artificial your food products are, the more the problems.
In fact, the more your life becomes artificial.
Yeah, the more the problems. So I actually try to do more of the natural things than the, I hardly buy Coke and those things. The sugar content is just too much. Most of these soft drinks and fizzy drinks and most of these energy drinks and stuff, it's just
the energy drinks.
Yes, it doesn't help at all. So people should be more natural. And sometimes we wonder why people are dying so young. People are not healthy. You have younger people come with all kinds of diseases, and all
Abraham, you are our last caller from Cape Coast. Abraham.
Yes.
We are listening to Yetio.
Yes, sir. I want to ask doctor, what's the side effect for drinking fizzy drinks? Too much fizzy.
Oh, fizzy drinks. I think he was just on it right now, so you can listen. You are our last caller. Doctor will answer you.
Yes, fizzy drinks. And to all those fizzy drinks and stuff, some of them have caffeine and all those things. It's not okay.
And you spoke about the sugar.
Yes, and the sugar component of all these, some of the preservatives and stuff, is just not healthy. And they will tell you, sometimes they will even tell you it's an orange juice, but there's no natural orange in there. They are all artificial things. So we should we should actually be more natural. Go buy fruits. You can even buy watermelon. Like yesterday, I bought watermelon, pineapple, and and ginger, blended it together. Very, very nice juice, right? Those things are healthier than all these paper drinks and fizzy drinks and those things. And know that all the nice adverts you see, it's all money. And so you need to be healthy, right? Some of the other, tips, maybe I can mention them quickly.
Yes, just in passing,
these
are your last comments so we can.
Yes, let me mention them. One, be thankful. When you are not thankful, you are stressed. Right, so be thankful, be content. A lot of people are stressed because they are not content with what they have. They want this, they want that. Because of that, they are doing all kinds of things that is affecting them, right? And finally, we die. You see, so when you saw in my war, don't fight too much, because at the end of the day, before you realize you are dying and you are leaving behind whatever you are fighting for. Some people are even in their 50s and stuff, or it's a 5-bedroom house, whatever, up and down. Usually jacuzzi is nazin up. Forgetting the old 65, I'm sure will be a stroke when you down. You see, so people should be content with what they have, and they also should appreciate their uniqueness instead of comparing themselves with others and stuff like that. People should appreciate who they are. And try to become a better versions of themselves, right? Then again, we talked about sex. Sex actually, or intimacy actually helps with stress, right? And again, what do you call it? Learning to mind your own business and simplifying your life also helps. Right? So these things are basic things that I think when people do on a daily basis, it's going to help them forgive people easily.
Forgive.
Let it go.
Let it go. Monko, Jemu Monko.
Monko,
unnecessary anger.
Yes. Let it go quickly. It's going to help you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Doc, in conclusion, people want to know how they can contact you.
Well, so sometimes I do all kinds of online things, video kind of thing, sessions here and there. So if people are far away and they still want to, 0249-802-500. 0249-802-500.
The last one.
Yes. And so 0249-802-500. You should send me a WhatsApp, I'll respond.
Okay.
And if we have to have some arrangement, like I said, I'm also at UPSC.
Yes.
UPSC has a health facility in there. We do mental health things also there. We have a whole wellness unit and stuff.
Amazing.
And like I said, the Vice Chancellor is doing so well with things.
Wow.
Amazing things happening.
Wow.
And the Pro-Vice Chancellor is there, the registrar, they're all doing so well.
Wonderful.
And the staff, it's an amazing place.
Wow. Amazing to praise your bosses this way and in this manner. So Doc has put his number up. If you call the producers, they will give to you. But Doc, we'll call UPSA Hospital. He does sessions for companies. You can contact him at the UPSA clinic and he can also sort you out. Thank you so much. We have been talking to Dr. Isaac Newman Atta, who is the acting medical director for the UPSA Hospital, medical doctor and a clinical psychologist. Doc, thank you as usual.
And if you look at my face, I'm stressed.
The 1 hour.
Let me see my face. No, not really.
Oh, okay. From previous.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
And they pay me struggling as I'm also
about.
But I had to come. And I want to add a Ghana Psychological Association. I'm the PRO.
Oh, you are now the PRO.
Yes,
okay.
Ghana Psychological Association is also doing so well.
Okay.
Right, all over the place. I'm sure this morning a lot of them at several places. Having some public. I think mental health has gone very far. And for you and Wesleyan TV, it's a good job that is happening here. And so we want to also commend you and also encourage other stations to take these things very, very seriously.
Amen. So thank you. We are partners together. If you are watching us on Facebook, share the link and make sure that this particular one, Stress Management and Leisure by Dr. Isaac Newman, goes everywhere. Then I'm share because it's a very, very important topic. Ye try ye ba ye ni kofori dia houses ba betena se na ye di nkomo. Omode crusade kesie bi eba betodwa, and we need to talk about it and see how you can benefit from it. Ye dane ho aba sesia.